Mr. Eggplant presents...
Hey guys, Tyler here. Thanks for checking out my video. And I know in my last dazar'alor +9 video I told you guys that I lost and had my my +10 Motherlode corrupted. I actually found it on one of my backups. So that's really awesome. So I was getting a chance to show you guys a little bit what it was like for our first Mythic +10 for Season 2. So of course, this is a +10 Motherlode, as we've stated several times now. This is a couple of weeks old. This has been recorded on February the 4th. So like I said in the first one, I'm a little bit behind in recording my Mythic Pluses because I know I want to do a good job with the voiceover for you guys. And so I'm getting a chance to do it now. So with Motherlode, for this particular week, it was Tyrannical, it was Raging, Volcanic, and then of course there is the Reaping affix, which is the new one for +10s for Season 2, which takes the place of the infested spawns of Gahoon. So I've ran a couple of these with my guild. A lot of people don't like it. I love this affix. The new affix for Reaping is really awesome. And actually, JB, our healer, he was telling me about how a lot of the higher end players for higher end keys are actually just pulling the Reapings with tyrannical bosses. So like they don't even worry about it and they just pull it and keep moving. So I did cut this one up a little bit because we do not make time for this. Just wanted to let you guys know that now. However, we did have a lot of fun doing it, and you can see how much better we had got from the first Reaping affix or the first Reaping pack to the second, the third, and then the final one. Actually, there's one every 20%, so there'll be 5 total Reaping packs. So how Reaping works, I'll get to our group comp here in a second. Reaping every 20%, all the ads that you had killed in that 20%, as I get hit by a volcano there. Sad day here. But they all come rushing at you, and they do like this scream. It's very intense, and I really like it. Just because it's something unique, something different, and to just see like these waves of guys just come rushing at you is kind of exhilarating, really. We don't do the right pulls in here as I get hit by another volcano. We should have went to the left here. Makes it much easier because we actually are way over % by the time we get to the end. And as you can hear them, we're just excited that we finally got a 10. We did a couple of 9s the week or two prior to this one, but we finally broke through. Got a good dazar'alor 9 that week as well to get our +10. So we'll talk a little bit more about the Reaping affix once we see it here in just a few minutes. But as for our group comp, obviously is myself on my Marksman Hunter. I have JB. Oh, actually, we have the same group as always. We have JB on his Resto Druid. We have a Blood DK. We have an Assassination Rogue. About said Warrior. Think about that, an Assassination Warrior. Ugh. And then we have a Havoc Demon Hunter. And this is my Canadian buddies. We have been running together, I think I said in the last video, about 8 weeks now. So we have a pretty good rapport with each other, figuring out well what some people do, what some people don't. If I'm not mistaken, this group here gets pulled. It might actually be me that pulls it too. Yeah, I think it is. Watch this. See how bad I am. Yep, I pulled. But, you know, that happens every once in a while. What I should have done is I should have just waited. That would have been one of the few instances where if you're running with the invisibility trait, I believe it's on the level 45s. I could be wrong on that. As everybody has a lot of those poisons, good thing. JB's quick at getting those off of everybody. But the invisibility would be nice there. You just pop it real fast, and then you can just kind of walk by that stuff. But unfortunately, I really wish I could see why they have it and make it be a talent now because of like PvP, for example. But I think they should really bring camo back to where everybody can get it. And unfortunately, we do have a little bit of a wipe here. Well, potentially, we'll see here. It's been a little bit. So we were a little bit under prepared for a +10, but that's all right. Also, average item level for our group is approximately 386 is when last I looked. And so see here, so we hit that 20%. So we were going to wipe anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But this is what they do. So all these risen souls come out. They come out with half of the health that they would have had. They don't have any of their own abilities. So the claw guy is not going to be pooping out that junk, anything like that. So what they do is there's some that cast those grave bolts, as you see there as they kill me, because they can also see through invisibility, and they can see through feign death, that sort of thing. So I do have a cut here. We do get through those guys. It did take us a little while. But what you want to do is you just want to group them up and AoE them down. It's really easy that way. If you have a demon or a blood DK as your tank, they can AMS, so they stop getting stacks. And what those stacks do is they lower your health. Like, for example, I've run this with another guy from our guild, Nerfo, and he actually had 1,000% less health. So it stacks. So he had 1 health on top of whatever he had for a shield. So we had to wait the 30 seconds or so. But if you're a blood DK, you can actually just AMS and it returns your health back to normal. I don't think it gets rid of the stacks, but yet it doesn't also give you any more stacks while it's up. At least they don't go up anymore. So we managed to AoE them down, and we were a little bit... we were overwhelmed, to say the least, on that. But that was the nice thing, is that we're in here with a group of people, and we're just wanting to complete this on time. Our goal is obviously to do higher keys to get hopefully up into a 15 this season. That's our goal, really. I think we continue to gear up, especially because, at least for Marksman Hunter, a lot of our BIS gear, unless you get Titan Forges from Raid, is out of Mythic Plus. Like, I'm seeing that 2 of my 3 Azerite pieces, for example, I really want that's out of Mythic Plus now, as I kind of tune my build. And also, for you guys that are watching, obviously for the Marksman Hunter point of view, I am running with the Unerring Visions build. I'm running with 3 Unerring Visions, 2 Rapid... I keep saying Rapid Fire. That's not right. That's the name of the ability. In the Rhythm, there we go, for your Rapid Fire. And then 1 of the Treacherous Covenant, which is basically like the free flask. It's a free flask plus, really. It's 300, at least at my item level piece. It's 315 extra agility. So we'll get here to the first boss, which these are tyrannical bosses, so they are going to hurt more. I want to make sure and dodge all the abilities, but I mean, if you guys are still playing the game right now, as he just whiffed on that kick, I don't see how he missed that. You know, you should know how the places go, how the bosses work, that sort of thing. But for this, I am the one that carries the... Oh, we did have one of those bombs explode on us. That's why we were taking damage. I do have a...
I'm gonna use my Icebound Fortitude. I got this one.
And in this group, I am the one who lusts. So I have lusted the group. This is the only reason I would have a pet out for now. And then I know I mentioned it in my earlier video for the dazar'alor +9, which if you guys haven't seen that, definitely check that out. It was a lot of fun to put together for you guys. Is that my rotation has not been the best because I still hadn't got to the point to where I felt comfortable always using that rapid fire. And I know, especially if you're running in the rhythm, you want to be using that rapid fire on cooldown, just making sure that you don't cap focus with it. Because what it does is it gives you, for me, 1200 haste for like 7 seconds after you use it, which would be really nice for getting those aim shots out in a timely manner, as I narrowly escaped that claw. But I have not been doing a good job of that. Like there, I should have, right when I said that, I should have used my in the rhythm instead. So what I've been using in the rhythm for is now I'm calling it in the rhythm instead of rapid fire. Oh, I'm having all sorts of problems today, guys. But I was using the rapid fire to just do nothing but refill my focus. When what I should have been doing is using it to not only gain focus, but to pump up my abilities and get them out faster. That's just something that was on me and it has been brought to my attention. And if you guys have questions on why I do what I do, maybe if I'm doing it wrong, like I love to get that feedback from you guys, because my channel is all about like a hunter community. I want to help out the average hunter player. I want to help out. We can get better together. So we got one boss down. We were 32%, and it is my duty, as we can see Blansamdi there. I didn't see him there at first. It's kind of creepy, just kind of hanging out there. But it is my job for the group to say, hey, we're at 38%, we are at 39%, we are at 59%, that sort of thing. Because, like I said, every 20% we get another rush of enemies. So at this group of enemies here, once we get to the 40, we're going to pull them back into the boss room because we found that it really helps if you have them coming from one way. So obviously we have them coming from where we're killing them right now, but we're also going to have stuff coming from behind us. But we did a Siege of Borealis 10, and we got to the 40% mark to where they all came on that little tiny boat that's in between just before the second boss, and we found that it was a joke. Like we just destroyed them, walked away, took us 20 seconds to where because they all just have to come in that one little spot, and then you're good. As we're at 38%, so with these Earth Shapers and Sappers, we are going to get our next set of ghosty ads. So for you guys that are still watching, first off, thanks for getting this far in the video. I appreciate it, and I hope you guys are enjoying this. What do you guys think about reaping? Have you gotten to a +10 yet? Have you got that fat 410 plus item out of your cache at the end of the week? I'm still trying to get a weapon myself. But what do you think of the reaping? I know it's been kind of hit or miss for people. I love it. I've had people that say they absolutely hate it. But I would love to hear your opinion on that. And definitely leave me a comment. Let me know.
I'm gonna run away from
So we're at 38 still. We're trying to kind of make sure they're all almost dead. So 40%, here they come. Is you're going to hear the scream, and then they all just start rushing in. I think I think I die at least on this one. But we do better. Every pull, we get better. And one of the things we didn't do is, by the way, there'll be these green patches on the ground you need to dodge. Those casters over there should be CC'd and should be at least silenced, nothing else. I did not do a very good job of that. And see, they can't be CC'd like with a frozen trap, but you can just grip them together and just AoE them down. So we do lose a few people here just because we're not doing a good job of that. So if you're a ranged player, and especially, or like if he could have done that for everything, we would have been in a much better place. So I do die here, but we do respawn right here because this is where we killed the boss, so it's not all bad, of course. So we get in there and finish up killing all the risen ghouls. But yeah, so JB says that in our recording, is I think you can probably hear that he was like, those need to be interrupted, that there's no excuse, and I should have done a better job of that myself. But this goes to show you that you can do really well in Mythic Plus. You can get gear. You can do all this high content stuff. I mean, because I would say anything higher than 10 would be as good content. You can do this stuff and not be like a perfect 1% player. A lot of people feel like, oh well, if you're trying to do +10s, then clearly you're trying to be the best of the best. Like, you can be an average player and do this stuff. The hardest part to getting getting a 10 every week is getting to it. Because with all the groups in the group finder, if you don't have a dedicated group, it's really hard to push keys sometimes. Because if one person made a mistake, well then I'm going to leave the key. Where that's really nice that we have a core group. And as for this pull here, it's one of the meatier pulls in the dungeon, so I make sure and give him a misdirect there. But I mean, you can make mistakes in these and you can still do well. So I encourage you guys, if you don't like dungeons or you feel like they're a little bit too much for you, find a dedicated group and work on pushing keys. I mean, if you're just somebody who's not just doing it for fun, I love these. In fact, I love Mythic Plus right now more than I do Raid, and it's not even close. Like, there's a few Raid bosses I like, and there's bosses I like because they drop gear I need. But other than that, like, other than maybe Jaina, let's see. I like the Mechatork fight. It's kind of a cluster, but I do like the Mechatork fight. Trying to think any others, really. The Rastakhan fight is pretty interesting. I do like that one. Conclave I like just because it drops a good bow that I never get. Wink, wink. But, Mythic Pluses are really fun, and it's something that you don't have to say, hey, I'm going to have to do this for 4 hours, for example, because my raid night's 4 hours. Putting 4 hours in one setting is a little daunting, But if you go in and say, hey, I'm going to do a dungeon or two, that's like 2 hours tops, and you get some friends to do it, and you just have fun. So I make sure on these, since we need to technically do 4 different interrupts, one for the tectonic plating and then one for the actual ability, I like to mark which one I'm going to interrupt, as I marked with the skull. So this one is, we joke because I always say, oh, this is the hardest pull, this is the hardest pull. This pull here is by far the hardest, although not this week as much, just because of it's not teaming and it's not fortified. But this stuff does still hurt. And I always save cooldowns for this one, this meaty pull here. And as you can see by our enemy forces, we are at 50%. So we're getting close, and we need to be thinking about when we're going to get the next pack. Which, if I'm not mistaken, we don't get it right here. I think we get it towards after the boss, and I think like that first 2 pulls in the next area, which we probably should have gotten a little bit farther along, just because we pulled some wrong packs early on, and then I had that one face pull. So that's on me. But like I said, the whole reason we were doing this one was to just get a 10. We weren't trying to necessarily time it. Obviously, you want to do your best. I get that. But I mean, we're not gonna. It's not a game over. We're not leaving the key if we don't time it type thing.
Also, the AoE stuff doesn't always like render correctly on hills.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
So we'll get up here to the next boss. And this boss, actually, obviously it doesn't drop at Mythic Plus, but this boss is the one that drops the trinket that I've been really looking for at a high item level. I have the 370 version right now, but if I could get the 390, 390 plus, I would really like that, because what it is, it's a mastery trinket. It's a poor man's version of the Doom's Wake or Doom's Howl or whatever off of the world boss, and it gives you a set amount of mastery, which increases our damage overall, which is nice. But it also gives a procced amount of agility. And I think the one I have right now is like 1200 agility for 20 seconds or 15 seconds, which is nice. But I've noticed, at least going through logs, for the people that have it, the higher item level they have it, the more it seems to be procced. Like, for example, I've seen people be running dungeons and it be up 30% of the time. That's really, really nice. And it's looking like, because I saw like the average was 22% for the 370 version, and then it was 25% for the 380. I don't know that's factual. Like, I don't want you to be like, oh, well, the higher item levels will proc more. But I did notice that in the 20 or so logs that I was looking at to see if that was the trinket that I wanted to start going for. So we're finishing up the ads here, and then we can just work on the boss. This is a pretty easy boss for our group, especially since we've done a lot of Motherlode. Between running these to get the engineering pattern for the mount at the end, which by the way we did get, which is super awesome. Nerfo ended up making his mount, so congrats to him. A lot of hard work paid off, so hopefully he can start making me one soon, so I can have a cheap version of Mimron's head. And there just came into where I was not using rapid fire before I was using my aim shots, which, like I said, need to work on that, because I could have got both of those aim shots out while I was still in the true shot window and have used rapid fire and had it on cooldown. So rapid fire would almost be off cooldown now, where I could use it again. That's something that's on me, like I said, so please don't thrash me in the comments. I know I'm working on it. It's just really hard for me at least, to break the habits that I had made, especially with the steady aim build where you didn't use rapid fire at all. So I'm trying to get back into using it, and I haven't been using it in a correct manner. But these bosses have an absolute crazy amount of health, just because they are tyrannicals. So probably should have cut the video down a little bit. I'm assuming this video is going to be right around 35 to 40 minutes. So I hope you guys will stick around to the end of it, because I get an upgrade at the end. Spoiler alert, one of the guys in the group gets the trinket. I'm kind of sad about that still. I'm a little butthurt. But oh, there you go. I did rapid fire right that time, where I used it beforehand. See, so I can learn every once in a while. There we go. But I end up getting the pants off of the third boss, which is BIS. It's a 400 item level piece, because that's what drops base out of +10s. But they also are the correct stats. I think they're actually haste over mastery instead of mastery over haste, but oh well. So we got down here, and we're pulling these weapons testers here, and then I believe we pull the next pack, and then we get hit. I believe. And so on those packs with the assistance, you want to make sure and interrupt the transmute, or whatever he calls, transmogrify, I think. I don't remember. But you want to make sure and get rid of those, because those do a large amount of AoE damage to the group, and you don't want that. There's enough damage going out. You don't need any more. So we're at 59%. So, of course, I would have called out here. So we want to kill the test subjects. And I guess I haven't even really talked about it, that we have a raging affix, but we haven't had to deal with it yet. Just because on raging, the easiest way to go about doing that is just kill that one target, go to the next. Kill that one target, go to the next. And then you don't have to worry about them raging. But also, JB is incredibly good about soothing the targets. So here we go. We have our next set of risen souls, and this is probably our best pull of them, because see, they can only come from one angle, and then it's taking them a long time to get here, which is nice. So we basically had the first set down before the next set arose, but they can actually just run over the terrain, everything. Then I throw my misdirect out on the tank here, and that's pretty much it. We just go to town on these risen souls. Since they're only coming from one certain area, actually they can be CC'd. I must have just had somebody attacking that other risen soul from earlier, so they can be CC'd. But they only were coming from one angle, so we found it really easy to kill them. It's much easier to take them all out whenever they're already in a confined space, so we can just AoE them down, because we have some really good cleave comp going on here between the demon hunter, a hunter, and a rogue. And for that matter, a DK. I mean, they do some decent damage as well. So much better this time. We didn't lose anybody, and we just have the two souls here. The little rock soul's been on me this entire time here. There we go. That's how you do that. And I guess we had one more. We're actually very pleased with ourselves when we were doing the dungeon too, because we were a little bit slap happy, just because we didn't think we were going to time the dazar'alor, but we smashed it. Like, we did very, very well. So we're like, you know what? We're going to do this 10. Because normally we do an 8 or a 9, and we get a couple good runs, and then everybody's tired or whatever like that. But this night, we were like, you know what? We are going to finish this, and we're going to finish it strong. So we have 2 more reapings that will be coming. We have the 80% reaping, and then, of course, the 100% reaping. So make sure not to get hit by the volcano. It's extremely easy to not get hit by, but you wouldn't know it by my play half the time. Wink, wink. Whew, I cut that one close. Normally I can figure out how close I can cut it. So I make sure and help the DK pull, especially with the mastermind that's running around here.
I'm gonna bring him back a little bit.
And take out the assistant there, and then the mastermind should be padding back around here. I'll go ahead and pull it. I didn't pull it with a misdirect, but since I'm far enough away, he's got to come towards us. Unfortunately, I'm just going to sit there and take it like a boss.
I can't pull it.
But it's all good.
Yeah, that's fine.
So maybe it would have been better off had I have not pulled that, but I made a split second decision, and I don't think it made us pay for it. I think we take him out, so no harm, no foul. I'm saving onto that pocket heal there. I probably should have used it, but for whatever reason in the moment I thought that JB had me. He didn't need to. I didn't need to use it, so. very, very close to that mastermind, but I think we're good. No aggro. Let's keep on moving. It was close.
Cool.
So down to 69% of enemy forces. So I think we ended up doing like 120% of forces or something crazy like that, just because we had some pulls that we should have done a little bit better.
The full $1.9 million for the settlement.
So we'll finish up here with the testers, move on. It's pretty much business as usual since there's no teaming or anything. We don't really need to do any special pulls. I'm sure as we go through Season 2 of Mythic Plus, we'll be able to see, hey, we should be pulling this pack instead of this pack because there's less enemies. Because like I said at the beginning of the video, you want to make sure and pull more like beefy, I use that term, meaty packs a lot, just because there's less of them. Less is more in that aspect, where you don't have to worry about as many of the bolts going out, not as many of the tank debuffs going out, that sort of thing. And then you can keep, because I will say, as an affix versus infested, the reaping definitely takes longer to deal with. Because if you were really good with dealing with the infested spawns of Gahoon, you wouldn't have to worry about anything else. And that was pretty much, you take them both out, you're done. Where this one does take a little bit more thought, I guess, making sure, even though it's just like AoE them down, but just to make sure that you're in a good spot, notice your percent, that sort of thing. So as you can see, by noticing our percent, we are at 79. So after this boss, which this again will be a boss that I'm in charge of for our lust, that we will want to make sure and not pull too much right out of the gate after this boss. So on this one, since it is tyrannical, obviously we're at 6 minutes and 40 seconds left. We're probably gonna make the timer. That's what we're thinking at the while we're doing this fight. But you want to make sure and clear out. Actually, use her propellant correctly.
Sorry.
The one guy who wasn't on the side, I think she picks me next. Yeah. So I didn't help it either. I think I had actually just made fun of him for not doing it right, and then I didn't do it right. So that's what karma I get, I suppose. But unless you have like some just extremely high DPS, especially on this fight, you want to make sure and clear it effectively with her propellant blast, that sort of thing, because otherwise you will get overrun with Azerite. As we were in a bad spot there, we should have saw that where the Azerite was going to be coming from, and we didn't, but that's all right. So there's the propellant, so that clears out a fair bit. I don't know why it started moving towards us, though. That was kind of confusing, but oh well. So this fight's long enough for me to get another true shot out. I do like those fights. It makes my DPS look a lot nicer.
Thank you.
Perfect.
If only the Demon Hunter could do some fat damage, right? Actually, I think he had just used all his cooldowns. As I went the opposite way of the group, which this will help me bait out the propellant should I get it on me, which I think I do. Yeah, they would have. I guess she didn't pick me per se, but I was over here in case she did.
Perfect.
Whoo!
Really?
I didn't die. I didn't die. It was close though. And then the one nice thing too is that currently I have my turtle healing me. So that was one reason I decided to just delay that a little bit, just to get the heal going. So we take down this boss. Took a little bit longer than I had hoped, but that's all right.
This bitch hits hard.
Yeah, what JB just said, she does. She hits hard. We found out that that things hit a lot harder, especially obviously it is tyrannical, but we were a little bit in over our heads. Like I said, that happens. But we've done a Mythic +10 every week since this week, and we've had no problem with them. In fact, we're definitely learning some things, which is nice. And I mean, you know, you can make mistakes all the time, but if you don't learn from them, then, you know, it was kind of costly. Whereas if you learn from them and use them as a learning experience, there's nothing wrong with that. And then the nice thing is that, we'll see it here in just a few minutes when the timer goes away, is that on +10s, if you don't meet the timer, Bonsomdi will be like, oh, you need some help. So then you get a buff that gives you +10% or +20% to healing, +20% to damage done. And we have a group of tormented souls coming in here, so we want to make sure and kill what is live, because that stuff does hurt a little bit more, especially when it would be raging. Oh, he was immune that time. That was interesting. We just continue to AoE it all down. This might have been our best pull, so you make sure you get out of that stuff. You don't want to be in that. But it was much easier to just AoE it all down when we kind of knew where it was going to be coming from. So I would say the last 3 pulls of the Reaping in this dungeon was a lot better than our first 2. Well, like not night and day difference.
Damn, look at that heal.
I don't like this guy. I'm gonna come over here and say hello.
Oh my god.
So the one nice thing about Mythic Plus is, at least for our group, is that JB's Efflorescence, the green circle on the ground, definitely got buffed. It's a lot more of his mana, but it's a lot of healing, and it has definitely helped us stay alive in some of these fights and some of these pulls. And it is kind of cool with the Reaping affix to see all these random ghosts just like standing, waiting around to be like, okay, we can go kill them now, right?
If I time it.
And the Reaping also does count for bombs that explode too. So, fun fact. We found that out.
Yeah, the right side?
We don't do trash easily.
I mean,
Oh, we got the specialist here, unfortunately, but you know, we got the DPS, no problem. And it's not like we're trying to get time as well, because it's too late at this point, especially with the last boss being tyrannical. Just have to backpedal, because I know I was fine. That's the one nice thing too, is that I pretty much got to the point where I know when I can backpedal and when I can't, and I'll rarely get hit by things. Strafing does help though, a lot of strafing.
God damn.
And our healer got
So I assume
nuked.
we're gonna
Yeah.
take this,
So we're at what,
bargain?
87% there, 88% now.
Is there a choice or something?
in 40 seconds. Bonsomdi will approach.
And by the way, he doesn't approach. He stands wherever the last checkpoint was, and you have to go find him. So, for example, we did a +10
We're gonna
underrot.
Oh, I see.
Oh god, it was terrible. First off, second off, there's only one place in that entire dungeon where it's saved, which is the beginning. So you have to, like, we were just before the last boss, and we had to run all the way up to get to him again. What we should have done, we should have just died at that point to save us some time. Just time of our lives lost from running around. So the timer did just go off there, and we are going to run down here to Bonsomdi. He asked if you want to take his buff, which we did take that, and it gives you that 20% healing, 20% damage buff, which is beautiful, especially if you're just wanting to finish keys. However, there is a drawback to it, and that drawback is that if you want to do another Mythic +10, you have to, and you want to use the buff that he gives, you have to wait 2 hours. It's got a 2-hour lingering effect to where you can't do anything because you were recently helped by Bonsomdi. So really, it's not that bad. Obviously, I guess now that I think about it, you wouldn't need it if you're clearing your 10 keys. You don't need the help because you don't get the choice.
Plateau at 10.
So I'm just kind of chilling back here, just making sure that I don't pull anything else. Get right up to here. That's a nice big old pull. But hey, I mean, 16 deaths on never seeing what Reaping was going to be like. not really having a plan to come into the dungeon. We were just like, you know what, we got a +10, let's go do it. And I thought we did pretty well. Did pretty well overall. As long as I don't die here. Make sure and use that pocket heal for the win. Exhilaration gets me out of so many problems.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
So like I said, we were way ahead percent-wise. I think we probably we're a good at least 10% over, more than we needed. So if we were trying to time this, that would have been one of our problems, that we just hadn't done that effectively. We died too much. I still think with the DPS we had we come in here knowing what it was like, knowing how we were going to deal with it, I think we would have been fine. So on to the final boss here, which is Mogul Razdunk. I've got to know about him quite often, just because of running in here with Nerfo trying to get his schematic. I couldn't think of the word. So as soon as we get through the first phase into that kind of interim phase, as I'm trying to bait out the missiles, unfortunately I did pick JB, then I'll lust and we'll end the fight. So we just want to make sure and dodge the Boombas and all their rockets of doom. Make sure and dodge the Gatling gun, which he was in a good spot, because they've changed the way the timers have worked, or the timing of the fight. As hopefully it wanted him the entire time. Just want to make sure and not get because when that explodes, it puts a dot on everybody.
Just keep going like that.
But sometimes, so he'll be using his Gatling gun while you're trying to move him to avoid the. Because if you get hit by that Gatling gun, it's done. Like, you're pretty much dead. It hurts. There we go. I got the missile finally on me, so I can kind of bait it out here. So finish up by killing the ads that pop out here, the Sky Scorchers. Make sure not to get hit by any of the other large explosions headed our way.
We get dick pics if you get it.
But overall, like I said, I thought this was a good run. We learned a lot about the affix. Unfortunately, we did miss that first dunk there. But we learned a lot. And, I mean, we got gear. I actually coined this boss. I don't get anything from it, but you know, I thought we did a heck of a job, and I was glad that I was able to end up recording this for you and actually using the recording. So props to my computer's backup drive that actually saved it. And unfortunately, I don't think I get over there. Oh, I do. Do I? Let's see. Oh no, this is the one where even though it was on it, it didn't explode. So I don't know what the deal was there. I got a second chance at it though. So we'll pop our lust. I'll pull out the pet and we'll finish this video off in style. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you ever want to do Mythic Plus with me, I love to do Mythic Plus. I would love to do them with a group of my followers. That would be really awesome, especially if you're somebody who has a high level weapon already and would want to trade me one from a Mythic Plus. Wink wink. I would really love that, because I'm still rocking my 385. Sadly, I'm the only one who can get it out of raid, only one who can get it out of a dungeon, so I find it really hard to get a weapon sometimes, unfortunately. But I save all my bonus rolls for it, so maybe one day. So definitely consider subscribing to the channel. I'm going to try to do some more recordings for Twitch and do some of our live streams. So nice job getting those pants. Appreciate you guys watching. Definitely consider subscribing to the channel, as I'm getting very, very, very close to 1,000 subscribers, which being monetized is not my goal, but it would help me provide better content for you guys. So definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already, or share my channel with friends. I do more than World of Warcraft. I have a lot of other games that I stream from time to time, and I always are open to suggestions if you guys want to let me know of another game that I should be playing. So I appreciate you guys watching. Until my next live stream or video, I'll see you guys later.